Warning, the following is not an instructional video. Do not attempt anything you see without qualified professional assistance. In other words, if you get bit because you did what you saw here, you're a dumbass and it's not our fault.
Hi, this is Chris from Canine Solutions Training Services. I wanted to show you a little video today about something that's fascinating to me, literally interspecies communication gone wrong. So a good training is good interspecies communication. When you understand what a dog is, and you love dogs, and you want a goal to be reached between human and dog, that's it. That's the holy grail, right? Nowadays, people love dogs, they don't understand dogs, and they're trying to inflict a human way of thinking onto the dog. Dogs have been domesticated for over 33,000 years. So that predates our relationship with the horse by 18,000 years at least. So this is an old relationship. We needed dogs to do work for us, the work that we couldn't do or didn't want to do. That's one of the greatest things that man has ever done, is engineer the canines as a species to do very specific tasks and manipulate their drives to accomplish work. So many people love dogs. They love them. I love my dog. I love all dogs. I guarantee you, you don't love all dogs. It can be very, very difficult to get a human to realize that a dog is not a person. So in this video, we're going to look at one family where the mom really believes that her Chihuahua Jack Russell Cross is a baby. You're going to see that Jack, the Chihuahua Jack Russell Cross, was a fine dog when they got him. But over time, he learned that they will give him anything he wants, pampering him. Over compassionate, over loving, spoiled brat kind of grandparents to the infant grandchild. Jack, being a dog, which is an opportunistic predator, decides they want me to be in charge, I will take over completely. Check it out, Jack, the aggressive Jack Russell Terrier mix. I could not even shake the lady's hand, which is a very normal social human behavior. I cannot approach her and shake her hand without Jack saying, "Get away, I don't want you near her." Now think about that. People go, well, that's no big deal, my dog would do that. Well, something's wrong if your dog would do that too. You have to teach the dog that human social behaviors are acceptable. Going to the groomer, going to the vet, someone coming up and shaking hands with the owner. These are all acceptable things. This is basic manners 101. So now what we're going to do is get Jack's story. So check that out. This is Jack, who is his name Jack?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Jack, the Chihuahua Jack Russell Cross. Tell me his story, would you?
So he was really good and just an angel from heaven that everyone he met, he was so sweet to them.
So about 90 days.
He played. I would say 6 weeks, yeah.
6 weeks?
Yeah, and he like played with the neighbor's dogs. We went on walks together, we took him everywhere.
Sure.
And then it got to where we couldn't take him anywhere.
What's his problem? Why are you here? Can I go through the list with
He
you?
attacks everyone who isn't me. I lay on the couch at home, and he'll sit in the big chair, and I'll be laying on the couch for watching TV. Jack's cuddled up next to me, and then he'll lean over to, kiss me or something, and Jack will try it. And Jack's very serious. He's not nipping. You can see the holes in the bottoms of the shoes. We had trouble when he was beginning to act aggressive. There were little things that happened, he'd be on the bone, chewing a bone on the floor, and the girls would run past him through the house, and he'd be upset with them for walking past.
So how did you handle that?
I knew that it was because he had the bone. So put the bone away.
So we're getting a story, and when I have someone come in for an evaluation, I want to watch the dog's behavior, but I also want to listen to what's going on at home. So many trainers do not teach people how to handle a dog in their own home. They just teach sit down, stay, heel, and calm. It is so important that we focus on the relationship and the communication between the owner and the dog and the owner. This dog is starting to become dangerous. bit the husband, tried to bite the kids, and in fact, we find out later, did bite 2 of the kids. And she said, the dog bites anyone but me. That's the problem. So now I'm going to drop a little knowledge on them. Check it out. I'm going to ask you a few questions here, okay?
Okay.
You clearly love this dog.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. He's bitten you, right? Tried to bite you. Bitten you, right? And then tried to bite you.
Yes.
Okay, and has he tried to bite other people?
Mm-hmm.
And you love him. What makes him a great dog? The fact that he attacks your family? The problem is the stigma you have in your mind, and he is absolutely a defenseless, pitiable baby.
Mm-hmm.
He is a wood chipper that you pulled off your boyfriend's lap so he didn't need plastic surgery. Is that defenseless?
I guess not.
You guess. You're a smart woman. And you guess?
Yeah.
But see, you don't want to come out of that Disney
That's
mentality.
defenseless.
You don't want to come out of the Disney mentality. And by your own admission, you said you don't know anything about dogs.
Right.
But I do know something about dogs. And I know that it's a crappy time to be a dog because everybody wants them. Everybody wants to baby them and pity them.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of
He
telling
has
them
clothes.
what's that?
He has clothes and Christmas bows on his collar.
Are you seeing? Are you seeing? Okay, so the dog's biting her family. I can't get near her. Has bitten the boyfriend. He's afraid of the dog, by the way. And while I'm trying to get some knowledge across her, it may sound harsh, but this dog's gonna die because when a dog bites people, it's fatal for the dog. So while I'm trying to show her how imperative it is that she understands from the dog's point of view, she tells me that the dog has clothes. She tells me that the dog has a Jingle Bell collar for Christmas. Watch how many times she tries to take me into her reality and I'm trying to pull her out of her reality and into the dog's reality. The dog wasn't like that when you got him. You allowed him to become an asshole and you reinforce it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to tell you not to be mean to him because in point of fact, I think that's horribly mean to keep letting him live in that chaotic mind. I've been talking, so I want to see how she responds to maybe something that is going to get the dog to bite. And strangely enough, it involves her kids. Take a look. Do you guys love the dog? You do? Go pet him. Give him a hug.
No.
I'm not judging this woman. This woman is not doing anything from her heart that she thinks is mean. She is, in fact, doing something from her heart that she thinks is kind. But the dog isn't getting the same message. Dogs need leadership. They need rules. They need to be taught how to live in a human society. This dog is doing something fatal. He's trying to teach humans how to live in his world. Not good. Now you're trying to protect the dog and protect the kids at the same time. And the only way you can get what you want is to hide him and shield him from stress in his life. That way you can keep them safe, you can still do your huggies and your squeezies and your lovies, and he won't change.
Yeah, that's our life in a nutshell. This Jack stays in the crate unless no one bothers him and then I take him out and love him.
So she just said, that's the dog's life in a nutshell. He lives in a crate until I can take him out and love him. The other part of this is personal. This is how you communicate. This is who you are. And people feel so bad sometimes when they leave here like, I feel like I'm doing a horrible thing. No, if you did it from your heart, you're not doing a horrible thing. If you did it from your heart and then an expert tells you that's not what to do and you continue to do it, you're not a good dog owner. Because it's all about you. So it can't be about you. When you have a child, it has to be about the child. And when you have a dog, it has to be about the dog. You have to give the dog what it needs before you give the dog what it wants. Your default with this dog is to pity him. Your default with this dog is to baby him. Your default with this dog is to make excuses for him. That's not motherly. That's grandmotherly.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's a baby then.
He's not a baby. He's a wood chipper defense rests.
It's her baby.
Nah, her baby, and that's the problem. Nope, didn't get in there. Didn't get the message through. So now she's kissing on the baby, and she says, "Well, if the dog can't be my baby, then maybe it can be my daughter's baby." And then I want to get through to the child who says, "Well, it is mommy's baby." That I say, "No, it's not," and that's the problem. And I think that's important. Said in a kind way to the child, I think that's important. So now I'm going to bring in Dylan. Dylan's a trainer here at Canine Solutions. He's been here for 4 years, and he is now coming in to address the dog, but the dog is going to be on the ground. When the dog's on the ground, he has a lot more freedom with the leash. Dylan pays an enormously high price because this dog isn't trained. Dylan's a young man. He's 22 years old. I know he looks younger than that, but he's 22 years old, and this dog bites him in a very inappropriate spot. Didn't it, Dylan?
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
It did. Check it out. That's the play of the day right
What's
there.
funny is I almost walked in like this. I was like, no, I'll do it.
There it comes. He's loading. So he's loading up right now. He's going to go up for the slide this way. Okay, it's important to realize that yes, the dog is uncomfortable, but the dog he bit Dylan in the penis. Dylan is uncomfortable. I guarantee you at this point in the video, he's still uncomfortable. But discomfort often comes with learning. It can be something that you don't want to go through, but that's going to increase your growth. But what's important here is to understand that Dylan is not going to enable the dog and be over compassionate, but he's not going to be pissed at the dog and get angry, which would lead to overcorrection. This is, in my opinion, artwork, and it takes a lot of intelligence, experience, and you have to love dogs deeply, which he does.
It's like the exact same spot that baby.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when he gets near you, he's not being protective of you.
Right.
He's saying that he's far more powerful. You're his power center.
Okay.
That's bad. So here's a common misconception. Often, people believe that a dog is trying to protect them when it really isn't. In fact, the dog, 9 out of 10 times, is trying to protect itself. Okay, it's telling you to get away. Look how big my teeth are. Look at how hard I bark at you. Get away. So this woman, again, in this romantic Disney kind of Lady in the Tramp way, thinks that this dog is protecting her. So in her mind, this is her knight in shining armor. He's protecting me. So what we do here is kind of disprove that by taking her out of the situation and reenacting it with Dylan. So check this out. Hey, Dylan, go sit in that chair. Is he protecting her? No. He's just not even here. Okay, so now Dylan has the dog away from the owner, and he's going to start to do some work with the dog. And you'll see that the dog is still feisty. The dog's very, very, very smart. Very, very, very quick. Very, very, very athletic. This is a nice dog if you can train him right. I am a huge fan of saying that good dogs are trained and bad dogs are allowed. So this dog's been allowed, but this is the first time he's run into anyone who's going to tell him no in a way that a dog can understand. So it's not going to go smooth right at the beginning because what they're doing is working out who's the teacher and who's the student. Remember, Jack the Chihuahua mix thinks he's the teacher and he thinks everyone else is the student. Dylan's got to do this, and then the dog has to accept it. So let's check that out. So Dylan's saying, none of your tools are going to work. Look. Do you see what Dylan's saying to him? Is that all you got? Dylan's not pissed at him. Dylan's not mad at him. Dylan's not scared of him. None of that stuff. But people who object to this kind of stuff go, That makes me upset. Yeah, of course it makes you upset. It doesn't make me happy, but we're going to save his life. Because when a dog bites a human, it's fatal for the dog. Pick him up. So what did he want Dylan to do? Leave him alone.
Yeah.
What did Dylan do?
Not
he picked him up.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm telling you about dogs that bite and people go, the dog's showing you the warning signs. No shit. But if you back off to those warning signs, I'm not telling people at home to do this. I'm not telling trainers to do this. I'm telling you, that's why dogs like this stay biting people. We teach police dogs and personal protection dogs. We know what it takes to get a dog to bite. We damn sure better know what it takes to stop a dog from biting. It's really important to me to try to reach the people who want to learn a different way instead of just keeping the problem the way it is, avoiding the problem or reinforcing the problem. So many people say to me, dog trainers, dog behaviorists, vets, whatever, say, you're ignoring the dog's warning signs. Yeah, because they're not appropriate. It's not appropriate for that dog to give warning signs when someone comes to shake the hand of the owner. It's not appropriate for that dog to give warning signs when the child runs by a bone. It's not appropriate for that dog to try to attack someone and bite him in the penis. That's not appropriate. These warning signs that everybody thinks, oh my God, you should respect them. That's fatal for this dog. If you back off to those warning signs, you are now reinforcing that behavior. The dog is now going to use that as a tool. Am I telling people to do this? No. Am I telling trainers to do this? No. This is what we do. When the human obeys the dog is getting the impression, I'm in charge. And that tool becomes the tool. And the dog is very willing to use it.
He's not flipping out.
Why?
I don't know.
Because that bullshit tool of biting didn't work for him.
Okay.
You reinforce the tool, and you don't tell him to stop. Here it comes. You see it? Here it comes.
It's gonna be on the put down.
Do it.
He got con-
Things are starting to get better here because the dog is away from its power center and the dog is now being taught by a professional. The dog is not being allowed to use these crappy tools of aggression and biting to get what it wants. So the dog is now seeing limits. The dog is now understanding in its own language that someone is higher than it. That is not obedience. That's just working out who's the teacher and who's the student. If you're the student, meaning that if your dog has more commands that it gives to you, like rub my ass, throw the ball, open the door, than you have for it, the dog is the teacher. And that is where it starts. Certainly genetics has a lot to do with this. Sometimes physiology, like pain, that definitely can be a cause for aggression. You have to eliminate those things, but we've eliminated them. And pack order, or if you don't like the term pack order, who's the teacher, who's the student? You can see that the dog is starting to calm down. The dog's not shaking in fear. The dog is starting to go, oh, I didn't know. I thought every house I go into was my house. I guess this is Dylan's house, right? So that's cool. So then I'm like, okay, maybe we've made some progress there. Maybe she can see with her own eyes that the dog is more comfortable with someone properly leading him. And then I realized that I didn't get through it all. And to me, that's the saddest thing in the world, because to get the dog the help it needs, you have to have the allowance of the handler. If the handler doesn't let you in, you cannot fix the dog. You can't just come to class sometimes, do an hour of work or 45 minutes of work, and then go home and do the same shitty communication that you're doing and expect the dog to change. We need a leader here, and we're not getting it. She is stuck in thinking that this dog is a baby. He's not aware of what your thoughts are, what your emotions are. He is so aware of what his thoughts and his emotions are. His mind right now is in service.
Okay.
His mind with you is in self. He thinks about himself.
Okay.
But it's at this point, you're content with him thinking about himself. If you cannot lead a dog, you should not have a dog. This is interspecies communication. You have dog psychology, human psychology. Together, it's doing this. I can separate it, but I can see something's bugging you.
No, I'm ready to kick Jack's ass.
No, I don't want you to kick his ass.
Or something.
No, I don't want that. I just want clarity. I just want there to be rules that he can understand like a dog. She heard kick Jack's ass. So she thinks I'm kicking the dog's ass. This is so hard for people that come in here thinking we're like every other trainer doing a rehabilitation. Many people do rehabilitation using training techniques. Training is separate. Rehabilitation is getting the dog to the point where it can be trained. This dog's out of control. The owner is blind to it. And she thinks, just like most people in society today, that it's either complete love or beat the crap out of the dog. There is balance. And you have to seek balance. That's what we do here, is we try to get the owner, the family, and the dog back in balance. Take him. What just happened?
Jack's been insane.
Is it a canine miracle?
Yeah, he made some friends. Yeah.
Well, how did he make his friends?
By biting them.
Well, by not biting them. Scale of 1 to 10, how much better is it?
10.
You think so?
Yeah. It's
Honestly?
no, yeah, it's very different. He started at like a negative 15 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're good with the scale, yeah.
Yeah.
He was pretty far in the negative.
Thanks for watching. Hey, if you guys like the video, if you hate it, put some comments down here. I'd love to see the comments. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to up the subscriptions here. Share the video. That's a way to get the word out. Check us out on Facebook, Canine Solutions Training Services on Facebook. Give us a like there. K9STS.com. Letter K, number 9, STS.com. Check it out. Thanks for watching.